Well, today we're going to be looking at a dirty old video, but unfortunately not the sort you probably want to see. It's an old hi-fi video. This is a National NV850. This is actually similar looking to the NV870 I've been working on, but this is the earlier model, so luckily I picked one up. These came out in silver as well. Most ones I've seen were silver, but this is actually the black sort of, more it's a sort of silvery grey metallic type finish. Still got the hi-fi sound sticker on the top. I think these came out more around 83, 4. I think the other one was more 85 era, so this was the model before. This is quite similar to a NV370, I think was the main machine, their first front-loading ones. And yes, and besides being quite rusty and dirty on the back here, the front actually doesn't look like it's been used a lot. There are a few scratches on there, a little bit on the door I think, but a lot of it is just mint. Usually these buttons are all scratched from people touching them. They did have a remote. Can't remember if they were infrared on these. It looks like that's possibly an infrared receiver there, so I think they did have an infrared remote. Bit of dust in there. I think this one's been stored away somewhere for a long time until someone got rid of it. Only cost me $15, so I can't complain. I just hope the insides aren't as bad as the outside, because it seems to have some definite rust on it. So I think a lot of that will actually clean off the actual dirt that's on there. And yeah, the top of the front is just mint. Usually these things have got a few scratches and stuff on them, but this is in amazingly good condition. Besides that rust, I reckon it's been stored in a garage or somewhere a bit damp, outbuilding, shed, something like that. But I did have a quick look through the door and the heads look like they're still good, because they can get corroded just from being in the damp. This is possible it had something sitting on it that held moisture or something. Let's see how that door comes up with a bit of a clean. I'll let it dry out and see what that's like. But this is still in pretty good condition. There's a little bit of a ding or something there. I'm not sure what that is. Almost looks like it's been melted there a little bit. Get this dust out of here. But these are quite a good machine. And I had a regular old guy, I kept his one going for years. He used to use it a lot. And I think I put a new belt kit in it. It had a weird issue where when you recorded something on it and rewound, it would clog up the heads. It was actually the pinch roller had gone oily. Took me a little while to work that one out, but it was actually the pinch roller putting oily mess on the tape, and when you'd rewind it and play it again, it would often clog up the heads, or may have even had tension issues and stuff. But let's have a quick look inside this thing. I don't really have time to do much with this at the moment. I've still got to finish that 870, which is more of a priority, and I've got to fix the audio issue on that one. Basically got it running, but it does have a little bit of a scratchy audio track, so something's probably not set up quite right there. And of course it needs new belts. It doesn't even load properly anymore. You've got to give it a bit of a manual hand. Oh yeah, these old super caps, yeah, these ones are starting to go. They often have a bit of goo leaking out the end of them. I've never seen them actually damage the board, I don't think, but they were often leaking. They're just like, for memory. The brake band's still attached. That's a miracle, but I bet if I give it a poke it'll probably fall off. Idler tire actually looks good. It's not full of cracks and stuff. It's quite clean in here. There is a bit of rust on the bits and pieces down the back here, but there's no obvious bad corrosion. Oops, something's loose in there though. I think something just slid down the bottom cover possibly. Well, there's something, it doesn't seem to want to move again, whatever it was. But yeah, our tuner's rather rusty. Bit of rust on that. But I'm not seeing green components. The trim pots all look nice and clean there. No green growing on solder and stuff by the look of it. So that's a good sign. I might take the bottom off now that I heard something seemingly moving there. Maybe it was the power cord on the outside or something, don't know, but let's have a quick, I think there's just a massive circuit board under here anyway. So So we might have to flip that down and just check there's nothing in the machine. Because you do not want to switch them on if there's potentially metal bits floating around in there. A lot of screws in these things. But at least the underside doesn't look like any moisture's been on it. It's a bit dirty, and you get the usual sort of fingerprints eat into this metal a bit, whatever. They didn't coat it with anything too flash. Oh, there we go, that's what's loose. We have a loose belt. That's probably what I heard. Even that'll make a bit of noise on the metalwork. Yes, that's the main loading belt. The grease on there looks mint. Wow, it's like new. The whole mech is just so clean. There's a little cobweb in there, but that's not surprising if it's been stored away, but that is in surprisingly good condition. I was expecting it to need a belt kit. It's almost inevitable. There's a dead moth. Yeah, this circuit board's clean and no sign of corrosion or anything. One other little bit of dust here and there. Yeah, I think that was it. Just a little bit of dust down the end there. So you've got to take the front cover off and you can flip all this board. I think it pivots down here. Is that what it does, or does it pivot that way? Yeah, I can see a hinge there and there. I think the whole lot lifts up. I think the front panel circuit board might come down with it as well. So there's probably not much point. I guess we might as well see if, before I order a belt kit for anything, I like to see if it at least attempts to run. The cord's quite dirty as well, so this has been stored somewhere. Is that dirt or is it actually damaged? I think it's just dirt. Been stored somewhere not so good for it. And there goes that motor running away. Flat out. Probably hasn't got the mech. Let's change direction, I think. Got to get the mode switch. Whoop, now the capstan's running. If you can get it to sort of reset. Power's on. I don't know which way I need to turn it. Are you happy? Now it's turned off, as it often times out. I think I'm going the wrong way, whatever I'm doing. Now the capstans are running and it just times out. At least it's powering up. Clock's flashing. Where is the mech, by the way? It is in, the guides are back. I think I've actually started winding one of the levers out. Let's turn it off. Oh no, maybe it's not. Oh yeah, I am winding a lever out towards the pinch roller. Let's wind that back. The cassette housing is ejected. I don't know where the mode switch actually wants to stop. There must be a position. We probably should hit an end. There's the end of the mech. If I come back a bit from there. So that's right at the end. Okay, maybe it'll be happy now. No. Must be around there somewhere. Oh, something happened. Oh, that's when the capstan kicks in. I might have to put a belt in here, I think. It's not finding what it wants, so maybe there is another issue. Let's find a belt. We get a belt kit of bigger belts off eBay at some stage, so hopefully one of these, they definitely look in the right area. That's a bit too big, is it? Yeah. Good thing there's some smaller ones in here then. Don't want to go too tight, but this is only just to test it anyway. That one's probably, yeah, it's not bad. Let's see if it can reset itself back to wherever it wants to be. Usually you can get them to do it manually, but so I don't know what the story was, but obviously it probably wants to get to a certain place in a certain time because it's picky like that. So yeah, quite a bit of lights on the front. That's one thing I noticed with the NV850. it lit up rather nice. I've got a nice hi-fi light there. Normal audio at the moment, which is probably just the default setting. We're on tuner, we've got simulcast setting. Oh yeah, normal, right channel, left plus right. So they little click switches, here they are. That's good. I don't remember them having all those lights on them, but it doesn't surprise me. Got a nice level meter here, which sits there. I think red comes up on there or something. Maybe it just sits at that level. What do we got? Hi-fi tracking, audio level or off, so you can actually get rid of it if you want to. Kind of nice that it lights up even without a signal there. TV VCR works. That's interesting. When we go into that mode, it starts listening to the tuner probably. We should just be picking up snow at the moment. Oh, well, I think this might be safe to at least put a dummy tape in. Now that doesn't work, does it? Oh, that's almost seized up. Well, it's free now, I think. Not real happy. Sometimes you just got, that's what I've had to do with the NV850, is just give it a hand to load in and out. And often if you don't do them quick enough, they'll try and spit it back out again. It's going to play. Ooh, drum's making a bit of noise. What's making that clicking noise? And we got no take up reel. Oh, now it's starting to no, idler hasn't even come across. It's slowly moving. I can just see it moving, so everything's pretty seized up in this thing. Yeah, drum's sounding better as it goes. I think the drum probably hasn't moved its bearings in a long time. Control, I think's going. Yeah, we've got Pintroller. Set the idler making that. Well, we've got real motor at least running. Idler's well and truly shot by the look of it. Let's try rewind. Yeah, the motor's definitely running, but idler isn't doing a thing. Come on. Ooh, that's not sounding too happy. Gears aren't sounding perfect. Maybe they're not coming quite in. That just runs off the capstan motor anyway. That's why that's all running. It doesn't have a separate reel motor. Yeah, that idler's almost the idler. No, it just must be just really badly worn. It starts moving across. Oh, there it goes. It's trying to move. If it swings back and forwards, that's a good sign, whether you've got a real motor or not, that it's actually the motor's running or something's running there. See if we can eject it. It actually ejects. I'm impressed. Yeah, that idler rubber. Oh no, it is cracked. I can see the. Oh god, it's as hard as a. Wow. I don't think I've ever felt an idler that hard before. That is gone solid. That'll probably just break off in chunks, that one, I think. Can I sneak that out? You just got to remove the little circlip there and be careful of the spring. Plastic circlip clip thing, split clip. Let's just put that somewhere safe. So definitely want to lose that and just poke the spring out of the way, and that should just slide up off the shaft. I think the grease has pretty well had it on it as well. Didn't feel very good. Yeah, that grease. I can almost stick that to my finger with that grease. So that's not spinning on the shaft. The idler's got lots of splits. That's what they normally look like. Yeah, I can just. It's probably going to come out in pieces. I won't hold it over the machine, but it's breaking. At least they're easy to get off that way, but that is very hard. So it just retains its shape. It's making cracking sounds. Listen to that. That is hard as. I don't know, is that does have a bit of a clutch there. I think that bit's alright. But that grease is not real good. It's not so bad on the bottom, but the top is definitely gooey. So that all needs a clean. But I wouldn't mind betting a new set of belts will actually get this thing running. Because generally that's all that ever really went wrong with these. Though I do get a feeling, I know with the 370s at least, but there's little, see if I can find any of those fusible resistors that used to fail in these things. They had little yellow fusible resistors. Not sure if this model had them. I thought there was one even on this board. Of course, can never find one when you want one. Maybe it was more a 370 thing. No, I can't see one, but they are heading around the place, I think. And they used to go open circuit for no reason, and you just find some weird function wasn't working or whatever. The heads and everything actually look great. There's a bit of muck on the capstan. The drum and lower drum seem to be clean, uncorroded. So I think this one's probably worth the risk of putting a belt kit in it, and I think we're starting to get our brake bands separating. I can start, yeah, as soon as you move them, if they haven't already, the glue on them just goes dry. That one's actually clean as, I can't believe the kit. It looks like someone's replaced it before, it's so clean. So I'd say this is probably a low hours machine most likely. It's probably been, judging by that idler, that's been sitting there for 20-30 years at least now, I would think. And that's just gone super hard. It's got a big dent in it there where the gear was sitting against it. So this got retired a long time ago, I'm guessing, and after not having an awful lot of use. So that was a good buy. And getting it in the nice dark colour, I'm sure most of the ones I saw were in a silver front on these. They look like the 370, I think. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But I seem to remember them being more of a silver machine. So that was a bargain, even though it kind of needs a respray of the cabinet possibly. How'd it come up when it dried? Yeah, a few patches of rust on there, which is a real shame. Because other than that, there is not a mark on this thing. It's like I say, it's like new. It hasn't had anything set on top of it. Still got the label on it, which is not that common, but you did find a few of them people didn't take them off. Yeah, infrared remote, aluminium die-cast chassis, the usual stuff. Most of the Panasonics right to the end were die-cast, and Gold Star. They must have licensed Gold Star to copy one of these mechs. And it was probably the most reliable national mech ever, and it was the Gold Star one, even though it looked identical, was an absolute piece of junk. Gears a jam in it and all sorts of things, and they were nothing but trouble, those machines. The electronics in them was rubbish as well. But unfortunately they took a very good mechanism and made a very poor copy of it. But I think just about anything could fail in those ones from memory, whereas these, super reliable other than the belts, which is basically just an environmental thing. It's not just even wear and tear, it's just rubber goes from sitting around doing nothing here like this. You can just pull it to bits. That isn't because it's the belt's worn out, it's because you can see cracks in it. It's because it hasn't been used is the main problem. It's only worn out by age basically rather than use. But yeah, quite a nice little machine. I was glad to see that one. I was surprised to see it sitting there for a minute. I thought I found another 870, which I thought would be typical after I fixed most of the problems with the other one. But I better get onto that one before I do anything with this. But if I can get that last problem fixed in that one, we'll get a belt kit for this one as well at the same time when I order a overhaul kit for that one. And yeah, I think with a little bit more cleaning this will come up really nice. It does have a few fine scratches, but that is one of the better condition VCRs I've seen, because most of them had a lot of use, and they just from use they'd get scratched on the front from the buttons being used and things like that. And just, yeah, generally the clocks and whatever, clock screens and stuff always seem to have scratches. This has got some fine ones, but it's pretty good. You don't really notice them until you sit up into the light. So I'll put those bits in a bag so I don't miss that little clip especially. And we'll get back on this sometime. It'll be interesting to sit the other one on top of it, the 870, and compare the two and see how they look. Well, that's just a slimmer line version of this. I think it's a bit different in the display there. But certainly the top of the line for national VCRs, the 850, the 870, and I think they basically went to the G-Max after that. And they were all the slimline VCRs. They did make a few nice hi-fi ones. I think I've already worked on one, haven't I? I've got 2 or 3 of them lying around here I've got to get back onto. One I think I sort of got going, and there's another one I have never even plugged in. But I think that's kind of the lineup, so I guess we could... I've got probably 3 different generations all in the same colour, so it'll be interesting to compare what they look like. I think they're MVG66s or something. And yeah, might be the one chance to get them all in the one room together, because they are lovely old machines, most of these. These ones weren't as good, in my opinion. They seem to break down a bit more, and they're a bit earlier technology. I think the 870 was probably the pinnacle, and then unfortunately they got rid of these earlier mechanisms, which were pretty good, and they went for they sort of get them perfected, and then they decided to come in with a completely new mechanism, the G, which was a lot more complicated, a lot easier for people to break that if they sort of forced it or anything. And they did break on their own basically because so much plastic in them, and then they were, yeah, it could be a real pain to diagnose all the issues with them, especially if someone had forced the tape out. But anyway, we'll get back onto that on another day once I've got a belt kit. And yeah, it'll be interesting to get the 3 of them together and light them up and see how they compare. So thanks for watching.